Welcome back to the Rise and Grind workshop. If you clicked on this video, you obviously want to see this giant Omtech 60 Pronto get unboxed. Now, I can't thank the team over at Omtech enough for sending us out this new line of high-speed laser engraver. In this video, we're going to go ahead and get this thing unboxed, we're going to get it set up, and we're going to make some of its initial test cuts on it. Now, when running a large 130 watt CO2 laser engraver like the Omtech Pronto, it's imperative you keep that laser tube temperatures well within operating spec. Omtech was nice enough to go ahead and send us out a couple different chillers to test out, along with a Fume extractor. So we will be getting those set up on this unit, and you guys will catch more of that in future videos. Now, when it comes to choosing your first CO2 laser engraver, there are a ton of different options out there. Not only in different manufacturers, but also the models. As I mentioned earlier, this is a large industrial laser engraver. This is not something that you're going to be purchasing and bringing inside of your home office. You will not be able to turn this unit on its side and get it through the doorway. This thing came in this giant crate. It was approximately 1,200 pounds. The crate is 8 feet wide by 5 feet in depth. Anytime you purchase a large piece of equipment like this Omtech CO2 laser engraver, you're going to be subject to a third-party freight company for the delivery, and here is my disclaimer right now: they all suck. Now, once you've placed that order and all your excitement wears off, you should be receiving a tracking number from Omtech. It's going to be your responsibility to track that shipment and reach out to that shipping company and work within yours and their logistics to make sure you can get that laser arrived at the date and time you need, and you have all the proper resources to get that laser unit inside of your workshop. And while we're on the subject of freight shipping and delivery, here's my forewarning to you. You can see that this crate arrived in pretty solid condition. I can't say that all of my crates have arrived in the same condition. If you see any major damage on the outside of your crate, me personally, I would reject that delivery and send it back to the manufacturer. Once you accept delivery of this and open this unit up, you will then be playing the email game back and forth, trying to get what you feel is right out of the company. That is just the way it goes. Now, I would normally just set this large crate outside here in my workshop where I have plenty of free space to walk around it. However, with this unit weighing 1,200 pounds, I didn't want to run into a situation where I couldn't get the laser moved over to its work zone. Therefore, I have the laser set up where I want it. Let's go ahead and find the proper size nut driver and get this thing unboxed. So as we go through and start unboxing this Omtech Pronto, I want to make a quick point here. It will be a very good idea if you save and take great care when disassembling this crate. Should there be a major issue inside with your laser, or should a major issue arise later on, save this material for at least 30 days. That way you will not have to go buy and create your own crate. Worst case scenario, you'd have to ship this thing back, and you can at least save on saving that crate. Now, I know I mentioned the specs and the size of this container earlier in the video, but somebody always asks, so let's go ahead and knock that one out. The overall length of the unit is 80 inches. The overall depth of the unit comes in at 61¼ and it stands tall at 50½ inches. And here's a fun fact for you. All of you watching me uncrate this, you're on my TikTok live. We go live over on TikTok all the time, so if you're not following me on TikTok, make sure you go follow. I'll have a link down below. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Are we ready to take the top off and start revealing the 60? Let's get right to it. So here's your first look inside the Pronto once you take delivery. It's at this point you really want to start examining this crate and seeing if there's any internal damage. Obviously, this is covered up with a large piece of cardboard and we can't see anything, but so far it's looking really good. Now, I went ahead and placed this crate where I want to set up my Omtech Pronto. However, on the live earlier, somebody did mention I may or may not have this thing facing the right way, so only time will tell. Let's get the face of this thing off. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to reveal this thing. Clearly, pun intended, we're going to need to remove this protective clear wrapping. And if you can't figure that out, I don't know if you should be operating a laser engraver. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really liking the look of this new Pronto series. Now that we have most of that crate removed, let's give you some final overall dimensions. The overall width is going to be 75 inches outside to outside. The depth is 55.5 inches. Well, hello there. As much as I want to open that lid, don't forget about all the accessories that are going to come with this unit. They are normally inside of the laser. On this unit right here, they are down below, so let's go ahead and slide these out really quick. Now, if you're a nerd like me, sometimes the little things really do matter. I come from a CNC machining background, and I really liked seeing those indicator lights on those machines. And on this new Pronto series, you'll notice these two white vertical strips. That's exactly what these are. These are going to be status indicator lights. We'll go over that later in the video as well. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look under the hood. You'll notice these two black dots right here. If you gently grab onto these and lift this up, you will notice the handle is mounted on the inside of this cover right here. You'll just need to remove this and mount that on the front side. Now, we already talked about inspecting the crate for damage. Now that you have the unit open, now's when you want to spend your time inspecting this machine. This is your opportunity to take a good, detailed, and thorough look to see if there's any damage or anything wrong with that machine. If there is, you're going to want to reach out directly to Omtech right away. Now that we have access to the back of the Pronto, that CO2 laser tube is housed right here under this cover. Right now is your opportunity to open this cover up and take a quick look at this glass laser tube. If you have a major issue, you will most likely see it right away, as this glass tube sometimes does show up shattered. But rest assured, if something like that does happen, immediately reach out to Omtech and they will send you out a replacement tube. These things sometimes just happen in shipping. And on the topic of CO2 laser tubes, all CO2 laser tubes have a shelf life, and this tube is rated at 12,000 working hours. Now we need to get this 700-pound Pronto off of this pallet. My plan of attack is pretty simple. This unit comes with 4 casters and 4 leveling feet. These are nice, heavy-duty leveling feet, and from the factory, they've set this on the pallet, and those casters are just free-floating underneath right now. One thing that I noticed that I really liked, take a look at these large blocks they have anchored on the bottom side of this machine. I'm just keeping it real here. Omtech does not use the heaviest gauge sheet metal on the outside housings of these machines. Therefore, oftentimes these can get damaged during shipping, especially out there on the rough seas. It's nice to see that they've taken care to put these big support blocks underneath this large heavy unit to prevent any unnecessary damage during the shipping process. And also take note of the leveling feet. They do have a hex bolt in here. You will need to remove that so you can actually roll this unit off of the pallet. So here's my plan of action. I'm going to take my trusty crescent wrench. I'm going to get over here on these leveling feet, and I'm going to go ahead and adjust those so I can get those casters touching that pallet. Now those casters do have locks on them, so I'm going to go ahead and lock those wheels just to prevent anything from happening. Now once I get this laser down on the casters, my plan is to get this thing wheeled off of the pallet using a 3/4 inch 4x8 sheet. So right now you want to make sure that before you set this thing down on the casters, get those casters aligned nice and straight. Now that we have the leveling feet all the way up, those casters sitting on the pallet, facing the proper direction, we're going to need to prepare the front of this. That way we can get this laser down onto the concrete floor. Give me 2 seconds, we'll get that set right up. So here's the plan of attack. We've taken a portion of the crate that the Pronto came in, and we've propped that up here at the edge of that pallet. So obviously with this unit weighing 700 pounds, the outside of the crate was not strong enough just alone. So we've got a couple 2x4s, and we've shimmed that underneath of this. That should be plenty of strength. Now, growing up, my dad used to always say to me, son, you got to work smarter, not harder. That right there was a perfect example of working smarter and not harder. Drop a comment below. What did you guys think of that technique to get this large Omtech Pronto out of the crate and onto the floor? Once you have all that plastic film removed from that lid, go ahead and open the Pronto up and take a look at inside. One of the new things for the Pronto, it has its own dedicated air pump. This is a 120 volt unit. Another exciting feature new for the Pronto, this unit is going to come with its own dedicated inline exhaust fan. If you've watched any of our prior Omtech videos, you know that's one of the first upgrades we always recommend. You will no longer have to purchase a third-party external exhaust fan, as this unit now has a large 8-inch inline fan included with the purchase price. And right inside of here, don't throw this away, this is going to be your 8-inch exhaust tubing. This is going to have your water lines, and it looks like we've also got some wire for the grounding. At this point, go ahead and find that toolbox and get it opened up. You're going to find all sorts of accessories in there. This is a test card and some keys. We'll go over that a little bit later. What we're trying to locate right now is going to be the main power supply. This is going to plug into the back of the Laser. Now, we obviously have a few different Omtech machines here at the Rise and Grind workshop. I typically find the USB drivers on this little key fob. On the Pronto, however, that USB thumb drive was inside of this printer cable right here. Just make sure you guys locate this piece inside of here. I don't want you throwing that away and losing it. This right here is the new line of Omtech's industrial water chillers, and this model is CW5200. We get lots of questions about the 5200 versus 5202. The 5200 is designed to chill one laser unit, whereas the 5202 will have fittings on the backside that will allow you to plumb two lasers up at the same time, utilizing one chiller. So if this is your first laser purchase, but you know you're going to upgrade to another laser in the future, you might consider picking up the 5202. That will allow you to purchase another laser and utilize the same chiller unit you have. However, the downside to that is if you ever encounter an issue with this chiller, that will put both machines down until you can rectify the situation with that chiller. If you have a standalone chiller like the 5200 for each laser unit, only one laser unit would go down if you had an issue with the chiller. That's just some food for thought. Go ahead and locate the inlet and outlet barb fittings on the back of that chiller. I personally like to get my finger wet and put a little bit of saliva on that barb fitting and just give that a nice press. At this point, just go ahead and put the lines on. It doesn't matter whether it's on the in or the out, as the ends of these hoses are not attached to anything. You know, you really gotta love the engineers on this kind of stuff here. Here we've got a nice recessed little pocket here. We've got our nice little brass barb fitting. We slide our hose connection over there. And then we're gonna come up here and slide our hose clamps on. And would you look at that? The geniuses that designed this thought that would be a killer design. That way you can't even get your frickin' screwdriver on it. Brilliant. Just go ahead and lightly snug that. You don't need to be a barbarian and destroy that water line. We'll be using pure distilled water to fill this chiller up today. Go ahead and locate the fill spout right here on the top. It should be this little chrome cap. And again, you're only going to be using distilled water. On the back side of this chiller, it's going to be red, green, and yellow, and it's going to say alarm, normal, or full. There's going to be like a little ball bearing inside of here. And as you start to fill this up with water, you're going to see that level rise. You just do not want to overfill it. So with that being said, here's where everybody screws this part up. On the back side of the machine, this says water outlet. You want to take the water outlet and put that to the inlet. You then want to take the outlet and put that to the inlet. So whatever this says on the back of the machine, just plug the hose into the opposite on the chiller. Since we already have access to the back of the machine, let's go ahead and open up this inline fan and the air pump, guys. And I gotta be honest, 8 doesn't sound a lot bigger than 6. It's a big difference. Size does matter. For the air pump, make sure you locate this small brass fitting. I'm gonna throw a little Teflon tape on there. Now head back to that toolbox and locate your black airline just like so. This is a simple press fit. You can see if you push in, it pops right back out. Push that in, take your black airline and give that a nice good push. You're gonna feel that really seat down inside. Make sure you pull this back out and give that a good tug. You just wanna make sure that's nice and secured. So on the back side of the Omtech Pronto, you're gonna see a plug labeled Air Assist Pump. That's gonna be your standard 110 plug. Go ahead and plug that in right there. And then right down below that plug, it's gonna say Air Assist Intake. That's where you're gonna take that same Air Assist line that we had plugged into the back of that pump. We're now going to go ahead and push that gray fitting in just like we did on that black one. Push that all the way in. You'll feel that make a nice connection, and then pull that back out, and it should be nice and snug. So obviously when you're firing a 130 watt laser beam into various materials, you're going to create a lot of smoke. You need to extract that smoke out of your workshop, and in the past, Omtechs were known for having a very weak exhaust system, and you had to go and upgrade to an aftermarket inline fan. For the Omtech Pronto series, Omtech went ahead and addressed that. They now include this large 8-inch inline fan. To hook this up, it's very basic. I do, however, see a lot of mistakes made, and I'm going to make sure that I cover that right now. Now, you'll notice on this fan, it does have an arrow. That's showing what way the fumes will be leaving your workspace. A lot of people make that mistake of putting their inline fan really close to the laser engraver. That is not what you want to do. If you plan to exhaust your laser out this window right here, you want to put your fan as close to the extraction point as possible. These fans want to suck air out of the machine. They don't want to be pushing air. If you mount this fan down very low, you'll be pushing those fumes out that extra distance. So you always want to mount this as close to the extraction point as possible and have the shortest tube on the extraction side. Now, depending on which model laser you purchase, pay attention to where the extraction point is. On the Pronto, it's on the back side of it. On our manual Focus 60, it's on the side. That can make a difference on how you lay this out in your shop. And as always, make sure you put the ring around the exhaust tubing before you connect it. So just like the external pump, the external fan has its own outlet, and that is labeled exhaust fan. Simply take the power supply and plug that into your 110. Since we're already here at the back of the machine, we might as well grab our main power supply cable that looks like this, and that says 110 volt input. Pretty hard to mess that one up. Now let's go ahead and get this inline fan mounted to the wall close to our extraction point. You'll want to remove those two metal bands right here. That's going to allow you to get that entire unit out and access the 4 holes right here. We've got a stud running right here, so I can get at least 2 of my screws into a stud. We're going to just temporarily mount this until we find a permanent location for it. Okay, so just a quick recap where we're at. We've got the main power supply plugged in. We've got the inline fan plugged in. We've got the inline fan hoses ran to the back of the unit. We're gonna go ahead and vent that out the window right here. We've got our external pump right here. We've put our brass fitting on, and we've ran our air line to the back of the unit. We also have this air pump plugged in to the back of the Omtech, and then we also have the chiller hooked up. And just a quick friendly reminder, we've had people forget to do this. You want to remove these covers. These are going to be on all your mirrors and lenses inside of this laser unit. Well, now that we have most of this Omtech Pronto all set up, we need to go ahead and get this thing connected to a computer or a laptop. The Pronto has 2 settings. You can either use a Wi-Fi connection or you could use a standard USB printer cable. Omtech does provide this in that toolbox. We're going to go ahead and stick with that setup, and you'll find that location right here on the side of this unit. So at this point in the process, I would show you how to get Lightburn installed on your laptop and how to connect the laser engraver to Lightburn and find this laser engraver. However, I already have Lightburn installed on this laptop, and I will go over that in another video. But down below, I will put a link to the Lightburn YouTube video that shows you exactly how to connect a new laser engraver unit to your Lightburn software. And for this part of the video, we brought out a special guest. Who do we have here today? What's your name? Stone. Stone, did you want to fire up the Pronto today? Yes. All right, let's do it. And just so you guys know, in full transparency, this is our first startup, so you're going to witness it for the first time just like me. Now, when it comes to your initial startup, we see a lot of mistakes. First things first, make sure the key is turned in the on position. Next up, you have a big red emergency stop. You're going to want to turn that clockwise and make sure that is disengaged. Next to those 2 buttons is the magic main power button, and we're gonna go ahead and let Stone fire that one up. 3, 2, 1. Well, as you guys just saw, that looked like a very successful laser power up. Now, if everything goes according to plan, your laser unit should power up like you saw and find its home. This Pronto had its home on the back left position. That's going to be set up from the factory. If you don't like it in that position, you can always alter or change that in the device settings inside of your Lightburn software. Now, anytime you set up a brand new laser engraver in your workshop, or anytime you bring in a new type of material to laser engrave, it is standard protocol here in the Rise and Grind workshop. We always run what is called a material test card. And for today's material test, I'm not going to bore you with a material test card. I already engraved this on our 60-watt Omtech, so I have a rough idea of where I need to be. Instead, we're going to knock out some leatherette hat patches. We're lucky enough to be the brand ambassador for the best leatherette company out there, and that's going to be Hide Bond Leatherette and Adhesive. As you can see, these sheets come in a wide variety of colors and textures. What really makes this leatherette material stand out from its competitors is the USA-made adhesive on the back side of this. So one advantage of the larger Pronto 60 bed, I can just go ahead and set this leatherette sheet anywhere inside the laser engraver. Next up, you'll notice on the Omtech Pronto, it has a new red dot laser alignment. That is firing through the nozzle. That red laser beam is sticking out that nose cone, and when I hit frame inside of Lightburn, it is staying in that lower left-hand corner. That means when I run this laser, we're gonna be on that material. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the American flag with the largemouth bass. That is fresh off of the Omtech Pronto 60 CO2 laser engraver. That's fresh from the factory, no mirror alignment or adjustment. Well, so as you guys can see, right out the box, the Omtech Pronto 60 came fully aligned. I didn't have to touch the mirrors or do any type of laser alignment. That is why we always encourage you to download that material test card from the Omtech website. If you have a copy of Lightburn, you can also go into the material test card settings and create your own material test card as well. And of course, I'll link that down below as well. The Pronto series from Omtech is a all-new, completely redesigned high-speed CO2 laser engraver. Just to go over a couple of new features, this unit is capable of raster speeds up to 1,000 millimeters a second. It has a brand new autofocus on this laser machine. I will go into great detail on part 2 of this video, so if you guys are not subscribed to this channel, now might be a great time to like and subscribe, because in part 2, I'm going to go into great detail on all the new innovative features that the brand new Pronto 60 has. Well guys, so there you have it, another ultimate unboxing, setup, and review from the Rise and Grind workshop. If you guys gained any value out of this video and you want to save some additional money on your purchase of an Omtech line of CO2 laser engravers or accessories, I will have a link down below, or you can always use discount code RNG Products 5 off at checkout. Thanks again for watching, and we will catch you guys on the next video.